I'm trying to find out what's going on because I've been sticking to the diet. The only thing that's been going on that's different is I started the probiotics. Which, oh, here's the bottle, or the
Yeah, I saw
box.
the Ultraflora. Yeah.
Is that
That's
the good
fine.
one? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I haven't been taking any of my blood pressure medication because my blood pressure has been too low. And I noticed
you stopped taking your blood pressure.
Yeah, because and the reason that happened was when we went to the doctor's office for my ultrasound.
Yeah.
It was 107/70.
Okay.
And ever since then
That's not terrible. That's actually good.
Yes, yeah, and that's before I wasn't allowed to take any medication or anything.
Right, but what was your blood pressure with taking it though?
With taking it, well, before that, even if I took it, it was usually about 120,
okay.
115, and so all week we've been taking my blood pressure every morning, every night, and it's been like the 110s usually.
Okay.
And I had one day where it went completely wacky, like 150, whatever, and so I thought, okay, I'll take one pill.
Yep.
And I took the one that was supposed to not have anything to do with the liver, and got up the next morning, it was 98/67, and I was like, no more of those.
Well, obviously you're holding water.
And all week long, every time I weighed myself.
So it's the hydrochlorothiazide is what you stopped taking.
The
HCT.
I stopped taking all of the heart blood pressure.
The problem being is you got a couple things, right? So let's take a look at your ankles. Right, you have what we call vascular insufficiency, meaning that you got a lot of pulling in the lower legs. Right. The HCT, the hydrochlorothiazide that you take for your blood pressure, is a diuretic.
Okay.
Right. So if you don't take that, then you hold water.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's imperative that you should take that. You should never stop taking your blood pressure meds unless your physician says, hey, you know what? Let's start weaning you off. The thing is, you lost a significant amount of weight in a short amount of period of time, and your body's responding favorably, right? But just because it's responding favorably doesn't mean you should cease taking medications, right? You should continue to take medications because this is the side effect that you've encountered when you stop taking them. And your blood pressure obviously responded negatively. It went back up, right?
No, it went down.
Well, you said it had one
no,
day.
Just one day, but the rest of the week it's been
but the
still
problem,
107.
But the problem with your blood pressure, right? It's it's what we call variable, right? It moves up and down all day long, right? So with you just taking it one time intermittently, that's kind of like giving you a snapshot, right? It doesn't tell you the whole picture, right? So the only way you should really measure your blood pressure is once in the morning, once in the evening, 7 days consecutively.
Yeah, we did that.
All right. So So I would never stop taking a medication until your PCP indicates, you know what? I think it's time we can start doing that. But in my opinion, with losing about 12 pounds, that's way too soon to stop doing that. Your body, you know, you got to think from your perspective. Your body is responding negatively to your weight, right? Your blood pressure doesn't necessarily, right, respond immediately from medication, right? It takes a couple days for it to take effect. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing when it clears out of your system. So I think from that perspective, you should never stop taking your medication. Like what I responded to your email, you should not do that, right? Let your physician indicate when you should start to come off that. If anything, they can adjust your dosage, right? And that's the main thing, because a lot of these things are weight dependent, right? But you got to think too. The problem you have is what we call vascular insufficiency. When you have all that pulling going on, all the edema, all the heavy pulling in the legs, heaviness in the legs, right? Is because the vascular system has a hard time pushing it back up, right? Normally your vessels help push the output back towards your heart, but essentially, if you have a lot of edema and a lot of pulling, the vascular system is wide open, so everything just pulls, right? So then you start to accumulate a little bit of fluid. So you really should stay on those medications because that one is a diuretic and it helps with balancing out excess fluid, right? And so obviously you can do all the right things, right, and experience weight gain from water weight because of the medication. All right, that's why you should really be on that for that reason.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go with.
So don't be frustrated, right? Don't be frustrated that you're not losing weight because you're not doing the right things. You should be frustrated knowing that you've retained fluid and it's because you stopped taking the medication. Okay, so that's the reason why. So I commend you for saying, hey, I'm feeling great, my blood pressure's great, and I'm losing some weight, and I don't want to take these, but that's way too soon to do that.
And I think I'd rather talk to the doctor before I take anything else, because, like I said, the blood pressure got way below 100.
Right.
And that's dangerous. And we've encountered that with a friend of ours.
Sure.
And she was constantly passing out because her blood pressure was too low.
Right.
And one time when the ambulance came, she's screaming, she's throwing a fit, she's, all over the place. Obviously your blood pressure's got to be up.
Yeah.
It was 115. I was like, man, you're off the charts, and everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, that's high for her.
There's another thing that I'm probably going to have you.
I'm almost out. Those pills that you gave me, these ones, I got like one more day's worth.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, that's fine.
You said you were gonna change that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna change it. What I'm considering having you take is Diovasc. Are you taking anything for venous support?
I don't even know what that is.
Like your veins, for anything for like the edema. I mean, does it cause pain or anything like that?
Not really.
Okay.
Every now and then it's a little bit discomfort.
Okay.
We don't wear the brace today.
Right.
When I go home, I'll probably have him put it on.
Right.
And I've been trying to have my feet up more.
Yeah.
Trying to drain it, but.
Well, I'm going to give you to read about it, because this is probably what I'm going to have you, because this is really for this, and microcirculation, right? So it's basically for healthy veins. It's really considered for patients who have kind of some of what you have, a lot of pulling in the lower legs. It's a vascular issue, so it leads to a little bit of discomfort. But this can help improve that tremendously. And so I want you to read a little bit more about that. But that's why I was asking, are you taking anything about that? It's fairly inexpensive for it, but it's something to consider with that as well, because it's going to help with venous pulling.
Okay, and we get this from you? Okay.
Yeah. And I think from a perspective, again, don't be I can understand the frustration seeing the scale change, right? I can understand that, and I can appreciate that, but we have to look at reasons why.
Yeah.
Right? It's not because the diet all of a sudden caused you to gain weight, because it's just not possible. Right?
Yeah, and I've been good.
Right.
And that's I kept going over my charts and everything. It's like, no, that didn't do it. No, that didn't do it.
Right.
No, that didn't do it.
Right. So always talk to a professional before you stop taking anything. Right? Again, I commend you for wanting to do that, but it's too soon for your body to do it. Obviously, seeing what transpired here, and then obviously encountering what your blood pressure did that one day. Right? So I think that's why you should really talk to them before you make that decision. And again, they can possibly adjust the dosage, right, to make it a little bit more effective for you if your blood pressure is getting way too low.
Yeah. It went way too low when I did take that one.
Right.
But after that, it's like, it was like what was it this morning? 117 over 71.
Did you resume taking it, period?
No. I just took it that one time, and when I saw that it was below 100, it was like.
What day was that? What day did you take it when you encountered your blood pressure up?
Was that Saturday? I think it was Saturday.
Okay.
And then after that, I never took any more. And like I said, my blood pressure's been in the teens.
Right.
Pretty much the whole week. And I'm trying to think of what else. That's
But oftentimes they put patients who are borderline pre-diabetic, right? Sometimes they can put them on a blood pressure lowering medication because again, diabetes is also a cardiovascular issue. It increases the risk for cardiovascular disease. So it's not uncommon sometimes for them to put people on that because of the risk of having hypertension and so forth. Because when you have increased glucose in the blood, it increases the viscosity and it makes the heart have to pump harder, right? So that's sometimes the reason why they put people on that, and hence why patients with diabetes, their blood pressure should be controlled below the 140. Like 140 over 90 is the typical cut point for control. Or for diabetics, 130 over 85. So it's less. So it's not uncommon that why they put people on that. But again, talk with your primary care physician. You can call them and maybe they'll discuss it to you over the phone without having you going in. But I think the main thing too is you got your ultrasound labs back, and it's kind of what I had thought with that liver enzyme is. Granted, you got some issues with some gallstones.
Yeah, my question on that is, can that be resolved without surgery?
Oh, that's a good question. Normally it's liver toxin. So your bile from your gallbladder helps with metabolization of fat, but it depends on if your gallbladder is no longer functioning, right? If it's no longer functioning, then they typically take it out.
Okay.
Right? But the bigger issue that we saw obviously is the first finding is what I had thought of. It's fatty liver, and that's extremely common in severely overweight patients. It's basically equivalent to cirrhosis, right? So it's fatty liver. That's why we call it non-alcoholic fatty liver. But it does improve with weight loss. So I think that's important to realize. But this is another thing, right? Our body is very a complex adaptive system, right? All of our organs really work in sync with everything else.
Right.
Right? Well, we know you have a metabolic disorder, diabetic, right? You have a cardiovascular issue. Oh, you're not talking about. Now you're talking about another endocrine, or I should say, a metabolic disorder, because our liver metabolizes, things that we eat, right? So now you've got a lot of organ issues, right, due to excess weight, right? So unfortunately, you talk about that plus the CPAP, which is a pulmonary issue, right? You've got a lot of health issues attributed to your excess weight, right? So it's not necessarily uncommon, right? So if anything, this should just give you more power, more motivation that
keep going.
My body can't sustain what I'm doing, right? My body will eventually fail, right? System organ shutdown. I mean, that's just basically organ failure.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to look at it from that perspective, that this is just another thing that, not to make you depressed, right? It's just another thing that we have to look at that reinforces why you're doing this, right? So that's what we have to kind of look towards. Good thing is the liver is pretty effective at repairing itself. So it's one of the few organs, if any, that actually can repair.
Yeah.
Right? So I think from that perspective, we have to look at it that, weight loss improves your liver enzymes.
And even with all this water gain, it should eventually just come off. It's just going to take longer.
Yeah, that's why you need to be on the HT.
Okay. I'll call the doctor and say, what should I do now? Because I was trying to figure out why all that happened yesterday, and the only thing I can think of is I tried a new tea. It's just an herbal tea, nothing exciting or anything like that. And looked at it, and there was one ingredient that I didn't know about. It was senna leaf, SENNA.
Okay.
And supposedly it could cause diarrhea.
Okay.
That I didn't know that. I didn't know it was in there, and when I saw it, I looked it up, and that's what it said.
Okay.
So that could have been a contributor. I don't know.
Yeah, normally, because I couldn't think of anything else, because if we haven't changed really anything in your diet that would cause a disruptive of the bowel to have,
and the
really.
probiotics shouldn't cause that?
No.
Okay.
Normally not. Not a standard probiotic. Normally it helps with bowel movements, but doesn't cause diarrhea.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, 'cause that was, he can tell you I was not having fun yesterday. It was one of those.
Had you been taking a probiotic for how long before you experienced diarrhea?
The whole week. Well, we bought it after we got done
Did you
here.
notice any adjustment in your bowel movements?
The color started coming, the correct color.
Okay,
And
but from a standpoint, was it frequency increased? Did you notice anything with frequency? Did you notice anything with firmness?
It didn't seem to be any
different?
Much different.
Okay.
You know, in that aspect.
Okay.
You know, it'd go back and forth. You know, it's like.
Shut this off. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It went back and forth. You know, like. You know, for some reason, instead of first thing in the morning, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I can have a movement. And if it does happen first thing in the morning, it's more constipated like versus you know, the regular stuff. But in the afternoon, it's like whatever.
Okay.
You know, so.
You gotta think the volume of food that you're eating, you're not gonna have a significant amount of bowel movements anyways. We've got you on a very low calorie, very low volume diet if you think of it from that perspective. So you're only getting one, maybe one in a snack of whole food.
Right.
Everything else is pretty much liquid.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, there's protein. Yes, there's carbs in the drink, but not to the point that now you're gonna have significant. The volume's less, calories are less, so the metabolic process breakdown of your body with the food is less.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to kind of keep it from that perspective as well.
Okay. So. Yeah, because I haven't even had breakfast yet. So.
But that's all water weight.
Yeah.
We really need to understand it. That's all water weight.
Okay.
You just don't all of a sudden gain 2 pounds because of a diet. You just don't, unless it's salt, which you're not doing. So, and you change the medication, which is going to lead to water retention. But I think what we're going to do is really, I would like to put you on a vascular supplement that will help with that discomfort and a little bit of microcirculation issues as well. We've seen that they have that pretty good effect with those kind of things. So it's going to take a while to get it, but I do want you to read about it and let me know if you have any questions. So.
Okay.
All right.
So you don't have it yet?
I don't. I've got a few patients on it, but predominantly it's really meant for patients who've got severe edema and so forth like that. So, and it does help a tremendous amount.
Okay.
It takes, it's not like an immediate, so, it takes a couple months to have an effect, but it's a very effective supplement that's used. Really, it's kind of coming from bitter oranges.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, but there's a specific supplement in the orange, not vitamin C, that's really used to help with vascular circulation. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to do some homework on foods that cause, to help you flush out your system, and I'm sitting there going, bananas, can't have that. I don't know, there was like a half a dozen seeds and whatever. Basically, there was a list of them, and I was like, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. I think spinach might help. I think that was one of the diets. Oh, and of course, chicken and pork and fish, which I'm already having. So.
Yep. So you only have a couple more days left of the Insulix, is that right?
I got one more day left.
All right, let's get you on Synitol.
Okay.
Which is really good for individuals who, and you just mix this into your shake, but you just a half scoop. So 1 scoop is right at 4 grams. So I want you 4 grams twice a day. So a half scoop morning, half scoop afternoon.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Not 2 scoops, just a half scoop twice a day.
Okay.
And it's about equivalent to, I think, about a teaspoon approximately. Okay.
That's a little scoop.
Yeah, there's already a scoop in it.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Okay. And yeah, I did a video yesterday. We went to do our weigh-in. With Biggest Loser, the first week I was like number 4. Last week I was number 2. And I was like, yes, let's keep this up. This week I gained 2 pounds according to the thing.
Right.
And my scale for 2 days in a row it showed over 300, and which means I gained 4.
Right.
and depression. And so we were supposed to talk about temptations, and I was like, my temptation is to quit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I ended up crying through the whole thing.
It's hard, I know. It's real hard. But we have to look at it for what it is. I can empathize with you a great deal how frustrating it is when you're doing all the right things to experience weight gain, right? But we have to look at it as, why did you gain weight, right? It's not because, right, you decided to eat whatever you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
Your body does not respond in that manner unless it's excess salt intake, right? We have to look at it as, again, it's a learning experience that do not stop, everybody listening, do not stop taking your medications without advice from your physician. You should never do that. Okay? And this is a consequence for doing that, but not understanding that.
Yeah.
Right? That you stop taking a diuretic.
Yeah.
Right? Well, there's a reason why they had you on a diuretic.
Okay.
Okay? And now all of a sudden you gain weight.
Yeah. Well, I know before.
So just as fast as it will came on, it's not going to come off equally as fast, but it will come off.
Okay.
That's what's important. Because you were around 295, I saw that, I saw the picture, I saw the scale. So from where I saw, you were down about 2 to 3 pounds, right? And now,
boom,
you're back up fairly quick.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all water. That's all water.
Yeah, and I even tried drinking extra water, thinking it would help, and it didn't.
No, your body's not clearing it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like you think of your body like a sponge, right? Well, there's nothing wringing it out. It's just absorbing.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So that's what we have to look at.
Okay. All right. Well, I will make another appointment with the doctor,
But you really should start. You should really resume. I mean, I know you're fearful of that, but there's a reason why they have you on it. So. Okay.
Because I don't want to. I didn't even start the new stuff that they gave me, because like I said, the blood pressure was way too low, and they says, well, it doesn't look like you need it. So I was like, okay, well, I won't take it, not knowing that maybe there's something else I should be taking or something like that. Because basically the consensus was that I didn't need it. So.
Hence, again, I'm going to reinforce: do not change anything. Right? If you change something, it's something as small as you just did, right? This is what can happen. Right? So let's get back to what you were doing consistently every single day, including medications.
Okay.
It's really important.
Okay.